What's his status?
Press conference if he didn't want to come.
Yeah, he's cursed 75 to 80%.
Yeah, right.
Picked on him too much the last couple of times.
Go ahead, everybody.
What are the long-term benefits, or maybe short-term benefits even, of winning a game the way you did against Arkansas, coming back and, showing some heart late?
I think there are benefits, and I'd say both, short-term benefits because you won, and I think that gives them a little more confidence. Long-term benefits, it shows that when you're really focused and you're concentrating and giving all the effort that you can give, some good things can happen. So I think it is a little bit of both. I've had the question several times since the game, is do you always have to win one like that to keep winning and win the whole? I think you have to win 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 like that during the course of the season. We've had some games that weren't very pretty, and particularly 2 games without Joel here. I mean, we beat Tennessee, I think, by 1 or 2, and Davidson by 4 or 5 or something like that without Joel. And we've had some ugly games, but that game, I don't know that it was as much us ugly as we got lost and started playing in a scenario that fit what they wanted to do. We rushed some shots, we took some chances. We didn't continue boxing out for a long period of time. And then I think you got to give Arkansas credit to their style of play. They're going to have some spurts, and I like teams to never give in to those kind of spurts. But we did Sunday.
Can you remember a similar tournament victory that helped you guys down the road after you had that victory?
Oh yeah, I mean, it's easy. I said this. There's been a lot of media requests, but I remember in '82 we blew out James Madison. I brought that one up 1,000 times. And, we had Worthy and Perkins and Jordan, those 3 pretty good players, and Dean Smith on the bench, and we blew out James Madison 52-50 in Charlotte, I think. Charlotte. And their starting guards, Eddie Fogler helped him get one, and I helped him get the other one. Fisher was one kid's name, and David DuPont that played at Greensboro Page went to James Madison, and I can't remember the Fisher young man's first name. It was a few years ago, 35 years ago, I guess. But I think that we lucked up that time, got by. '09, the LSU game was better, closer than people realized. They look at a 12 or 15-point game, whatever it was, but that one was not as much surviving a close game. It was getting Ty Lawson healthy. Because he hadn't played in the first game, and then he played in that game, and then he got stepped on, kicked, or whatever, and he came over to the bench, and I thought he was done. And then he got back in, and he wasn't Godzilla, he was godlike. He got back in, or Godzilla too, I guess. But in '05, we had some close games up in Syracuse. I think both of them probably. Everybody sort of thinks that, and perhaps it, but. '09, we made a pretty smooth run through it.
Right, as the coach of the last team for North Carolina, what would you say to
I know somebody in here, somebody said they gave us a great vote of confidence. Said they thought we were going to go farther in the tournament than any other team in the league. That was you.
I think you had the best odds.
The best odds. So you think like a gambler. I was thinking.
What would you say to the legislature about the importance of acting before we lose the NCAA tournament for 4 years?
Well, I would say 2 things. It shouldn't just be about athletic events. That's the most important thing. It should be about what's right and wrong, and what we have now is wrong. I still say, to me, you've heard me say before, I'm not the dumbest coach. I may not be the smartest, but I'm darn sure not the dumbest. Well, I have a hard time figuring out why we think our law is what's right when 49 other states don't have that. I don't believe that much smarter than 49 other states. But, so I'd say 2 things. One, I don't think it should be just because of athletic events. I'm in that world. I see student athletes walking these halls that are in that world. I think it's wrong to deny them opportunities to play at home. We've had some tremendous wins for us, Duke, State, everybody having a home crowd with us. And Duke paid the price this weekend because they had a very significant road crowd down there. But the biggest thing is, guys, it's just not right. And I'll stand up and say that on any building anywhere as long as you promise not to push, because it's just not right. It's not just about athletics. it is just not right.
Roy, you've spoken out about that a couple of times, HB2, and made the Trump comment a while back that people paid attention to. Why do you feel so comfortable speaking out about political things? And does any of that come from watching Coach Smith and how he handled some of that over the years?
Oh, probably a little bit of everything there. I think, Kansas, one time I got involved in a local political thing to build a second high school, and some people that really wanted to continue our dominance in football thought I'd suggested communism there, and so I stayed out of the political realm for quite a while. But, what we have in our country right now is just, to me, a political system that's scary, because we don't have any cooperation. We have people on one side that are Republican, the other side that are Democratic, and we have nobody being willing to compromise for what's best. If you bring it up, well, I got to stick with you. If you bring it up, I got to stick with you. I think that's wrong, flat out wrong. That's extremely important to me. When I forget now, I should remember, and I won't guess his name, but there was an older politician that retired last year and said it was just so hard to get anything done because you couldn't go across the aisle and convince someone that something should be based on its merit as opposed to who brought it up. So that's the biggest thing right there. The HB2 is, I don't want to have our state looked at the way it's being looked at, because that's not right. And that really bothers me. And so those two things there, it's based on what I think is right. And I don't want to be compared to Coach Smith on that, because he did what he thought was right, but this is nowhere near what he did. And in the turbulent times, but I'm afraid we're going to get into more turbulent times just because we're over here and we're over there and nobody's willing to compromise. It's just a troubling time for me, and I'm a basketball coach, and everybody will say he should stick to what he knows, but you guys know that I probably don't know a lot of basketball at certain times either, so why in the heck can I say anything about anything else?
You talked about rebounding being an emphasis
Thank
for a
you.
long time.
I
I'm
do
going to move back on top.
You know a lot more about that.
Yeah, there you go. It's something you've emphasized for a long time. Is there anything different you've done with this group? I mean, it depends on the personnel you have. Bryce not being back, that you sort of did with this group approaching rebounding?
Starting last summer, we practiced once a week for 4 weeks in the summer. You're able to do that. And, I told him, gave him Rick Pitino's old line about those guys aren't walking back in that door. Bryce Johnson was not coming back. Marcus Pate's the best defender we've had for 4 years, is not walking back in. And the biggest thing they provided was Marcus always knocked somebody out, came up with a rebound every now and then himself, including a big one in the national championship game. And Bryce was naturally probably the best rebounder I've coached since Nick Collison at Kansas. And so for me, and one time I had Nick Collison and Drew Gooden, and probably two of the best three rebounders I've ever coached. But so we started emphasizing it the first day. We've got to get rebounding from 5 people on the defensive board. You hear us on the bench, if you sit close enough all the time, we're screaming, got to get to the board. We never stop emphasizing it. And I think the team accepted that emphasis, and they've really done a nice job. Kennedy's been really a good rebounder for us. I think he could be even better. Tony Bradley's been a good rebounder for us, and I think he will get even better. Isaiah, I think, could be an even better rebounder than he is. Luke's got a good hands and a good feel for it, but the combination of Justin, Theo, and those guys. Kenny Williams, we miss Kenny Williams' rebounding from the 2 spot a lot too, because we got to get Theo to get to those boards. But we emphasized it a heck of a lot. It started a long time ago.
In the 2 games that you played in Brooklyn and then Sunday against Arkansas, y'all had problems closing out the first half. And I think in all 3 cases, let a double-digit lead get down to single digit. Was there any common theme between those 3, and how troubling is that you guys have had those letdowns?
Yeah, the common thing is we stunk the last couple of minutes. But I've never been one to talk about the first 4 minutes of the game, the last 4 minutes of the half, first 4 minutes of the second half. You can pull up those 3, and I'll have to look at it and everything, but I can pull up some big runs we've had right before the half too. So I've never focused on that. It doesn't mean I like it. Most of the time it's more a lack of staying sharp mentally and focused than it is anything else. But, a good team, you're not going to start out the game 5-0 and then go to 10-0 and then go to 20, and it's not, double or nothing all the way. So we started out, and we played really well early against Arkansas. At halftime, we told guys, they are not going to stop. That's not who they are. And so I think you have to give the other team some credit. Arkansas is going to keep coming at you. Yes, we made 2 turnovers, I think, in a 4-possession stretch. They made a 4-point play from the corner, made a 3, got 3 free throws another time. The Macon kid scored 10 points on 3 baskets. But I don't ever get that upset about it anything whatsoever. I remember Barry and Art, I remember Sonny Sparrow making a 3 at the end of the first half at the Carrier Dome, and their crowd went crazy. That cut it to 27. And so it didn't make a lot of difference that night, but I'm probably going to miss that. But I think it was Sonny Sparrow that did it. But common theme is not concentrating for the entire 40 minutes. But the other common theme is the other teams that we've been playing have been pretty good. I mean, I'm assuming you're saying Arkansas, Duke, and Miami.
Correct, yes.
They all 3 played in the tournament. You know, they're not chopped liver, so I think that's part of it too.
Roy, the way you guys closed out with that 12-0 run, did that ever, when you do the practice 86-80 drill, is it ever that flawless on defense?
Sometimes, you know, sometimes we start out, we're ahead 86-80, we end up losing because the blue team has no pressure. You know, they sometimes beat us. Sometimes we try to flip-flop. We probably started out ahead by 6 with 3 minutes to play more than we do down 6 with 3 minutes to play. But we emphasize, and we do it literally 2 or 3 times a week, every week. And sometimes the white team does a great job. I usually cheer for the Blues and cheat for the Blues with my calls and everything like that to make it really up.
Coach, when you're here this late in the season, and you're competing against programs for the top unsigned recruits, and they're out of the tournament, do you find that as a disadvantage?
No, you know, perhaps you can go see, but there's so many dead times, you know, that you can't go see kids, and there's only a certain number of times, and I usually try to get far enough ahead that nobody's going to see a guy as much as I'm going to see him anyway. But I'd rather still be playing. I may die before that recruit gets here. I'd like to live through the next game and win that one.
Joel said that his foot started hurting him a lot more as the game went on Sunday. Have you gotten any indication as to how much better it is now and what his status is?
We put him in a boot when he came back just to protect him. We're going to have a light to practice today, shooting and dummy offense, which is what we did last week. We're going to let him shoot free throws. We're getting a group over there, so we're getting a little bigger than I want it to be because he's going to shoot 5 and Kenny's going to rebound, and Kenny shoots 5 when he rebounds. And tomorrow we'll look at it before practice and see what it looks like. I think he's better now than he was after the game.
You're going to Memphis, so we know the routine there. Did you spit in the East River?
No, and if I'd thought of it, I should have. You know,
Did you-
now that you made me think I'm ticked off that I didn't. But yes, I will find a way there in Memphis, there's no question.
What about the little Reedy River that ran past your hotel in Greenville?
No, I didn't do that one either. Everybody thinks I do it, no, honest to God, I am in New Orleans in 1982, and I never heard this before, and some guy on the street said, "Coach, have you been to spit in the river?" I said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "It's always good luck to spit in Mississippi." I can be coached. So I went and spit in the Mississippi River and came back, and everybody was laughing at me, and we beat Houston, and the next morning I leave, and I got 10 or 12 Carolina people that just came back from the river. And, so that was 82, and then I guess it was 91 or 93. 93, I guess we were back down there. No, 93 we were in St. Louis in the regionals, and I made the whole team go through it. And all of a sudden, Kansas people, they tried to figure out some way to get the river in Lawrence, Kansas, to make it all the way down. So they had one morning at daybreak, they had several thousand people met at the bridge, and so got a little more famous for spitting than I've ever done anything in my life.
So it's only in Mississippi then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, now, as far as I can remember, I've never done anything. If you'd have told me it's good luck to spit in the Reedy, or no, if you'd have told me the East River or Hudson or whatever it is, if you'd have told me that, I'd have been there.
Have you watched any Butler film yet?
No.
when Tyler Lewis pops up on that film, you start having, I don't know if flashbacks is the right word, but you see a familiar face like
Yeah,
that?
and I'm not gonna look down, I've studied their stats, I think he has 133 assists and either 30 or 33 turnovers, that's really impressive, but I've known Tyler for a long time and really liked his game. At that time, the only thing that prevented us from really trying to push him is he and his family wanted to make a decision so early, and I wasn't willing to do it at that time, but I think he's a great player, great passer. I think, I can't remember if he was on the team at State that beat us once or not, but you know, I know a couple of those kids, and I really like their coach. Chris took over a tough situation just so quickly, and the way they played in Nassau a couple of years ago and beat us, and then I followed him. I haven't studied Butler, but I've seen him play twice this year on TV for 10 or 15 minutes just for watching college basketball. But I've got to take, once the tournament gets here, I start a little earlier. Usually I don't start until the night before, the day before the game, but for Texas Southern I started earlier. Arkansas I didn't until we knew that they had beaten Seton Hall, but I'll look at the Butler tape tonight for the first time.
You,
More about the comeback. I've seen a lot of them, we've all seen a lot of them, but I've never seen one where just before that, there were a couple of unforced turnovers where one passed to another guy, just dropped it, went through his hands. It looked like, at that point, really did look like the team was coming unglued. And then all of a sudden, how did you feel when we just couldn't catch the ball on the perimeter?
Well, you know, we have one that bounces off Nate's head. Isaiah picks it up, throws it to Theo. Theo, it goes through his hand, bounces off his foot, and the guy picks it up and shoots it in for three. We have our first, I think I'll get this right, second team all-conference player make a bounce pass to our first team all-conference player. He bounces off his knee and they get it and go down. And I didn't like the look on our guy's face at that time. And believe it or not, don't anybody have a freaking heart attack. If the TV timeout hadn't come, I was probably even gonna call it that timeout. I really do believe, I should go back and check it, but I think it was 3:47 on the clock. And I decided to change something. I said, that's when nobody, some of the kids made some reference to it after the game, but I said, guys, this is gonna be good for us. We haven't won a game like that this year. This is going to be good for us, a little comeback right here, but everybody's got to focus. We've got to defend every possession like it's our last. Let's get the best shot we can get on offense, and then the best stop we can get, and then let's get the best shot we can get on offense. We're right there. There's plenty of time. I am not worried about the score, and I really wasn't worried about the score. I was a little concerned about the look on their face because they're thinking, woe is me kind of thing. And then, you know, it happened to work. They went back out and we got a couple stops. Joel made 2 free throws. And CB earlier in the game, earlier in the half, had said something about running secondary break slip. And so when they went over to the monitor to check, which I don't even know what they were checking, whether we had partially blocked it or if the clock had 30-second shot clock had gone out. I called the kids over and said, hey, I said, let's try this next time down on secondary. Let's run secondary break slip the way they hedge on the screen. That should really work. You know, so that worked a little bit too. But I just changed at that point because I didn't want them feeling sorry for themselves. I didn't want them feeling this woe is me stuff. You know, it's you don't gain anything by that. But I was really sincere. I wasn't worried about the score. There was a lot of time left. It was still 5 minutes, and we have some guys who can shoot a 3-point shot and make up things quickly, but we needed to get some stops. And I think that gave them a little bit more confidence.
The message was, clearly, we're going to win this game if you do what.
Yeah. You know, I've done it. I mean, I was dumb enough. We played Duke here in 05. I promised them we were down 9 with 3:10 to play, and I promised them we'd win the game. Just do what I tell you to do. So sometimes lying helps.
What was the play?
Two more, we'll get Theo in here.
What was the play that you saw that look on their faces, their body language change?
Well, we had all those things. They made a 3, a turnaround 3, with being heavily guarded. They panicked, got to throw it up, hope to touch the rims. It went in. You know, and there's some other things that had gone on. There was a 3 or 4 minute stretch there that, and again, throwing the ball from me to you, 2 all-conference players bounced it off a shin bone. So, You don't have to have 20/20 vision to see that there's something wrong.
When it changed for the better, when you saw that, when it changed for the better and you saw, okay, they've gotten past that, they've worked through that, whatever it was, that, again, that look on their face.
You mean when it changed?
Yeah, when you said that you didn't like the looks on their faces.
Well, the timeout, I think they,
Okay,
when they walked out of the
okay.
timeout, they looked like they had a little bit better feel about it. And like I say, we made a couple plays and that gave them some confidence a little bit too.
I know you like to prod Kennedy from time to time, but how much of a jump has he made? I mean, obviously, you know, comparing it to Bryce last year is kind of unfair, but I mean, how big of a jump has he made? Has it been kind of that significant?
You know, it depends. When Kennedy's during a game, I was madder at him than anybody on my team in the first half. I mean, my God, he's 6 inches away, he can't touch the rim. I mean, go back and watch the tape. When he was catching the ball, we were scared to death. I challenged him. I said, don't be a pansy, just go straight up at the ball and score. I mean, we missed 5 shots within 6 inches. And, because they blocked one shot or they screamed in our ear or something, we were intimidated there for a while. But he did some really big time things for us in the second half, and not just the tip in. I mean, he got another basket, the tip in, the rebound, he got a block shot. I think he had 2 block shots down the stretch. So, but in the first half, I was really mad at him. And, you know, because again, I'm 6'9", 310, I'm not gonna be intimidated by anybody.
If you get in the boot here,
Jesus Christ.
okay?
I hope it's your time to shine. Don't show them your stat sheets, boy.
Well, obviously,
Last question, then I'll let you have the deal.
obviously after this year, you lose Isaiah and Kennedy, Justin and Joel will have some decisions to make. With this particular group, do you ever think about the window closing, one
No.
last opportunity?
Same answer I gave you in the go groups. I recruit every day of my entire life, but right now I'm coaching this bunch. If you worry about what the Dickens is going to happen down the road, and the tournament play, I also always say that's where you're going, is down the road. But it would be a total sin if I were to spend time worrying about what's going to happen and waste time not doing what's best for this team. And I make a lot of sense, but that's not one of them. Okay, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Coach.